Hello, my name is Dwayne Kimball, owner founder of KMD 89 VA Claims Consultant, Leave No Vet Behind, and also I'm a United States Army veteran. Today I'm bringing another educational video as it pertains to the VA disability compensation process. And today we're going to be talking about what makes a VA exam / DBQ insufficient. You hear me talk about what makes DBQs actionable and sufficient and ensuring that your DBQ or nexus statement is actionable and sufficient. So today I'm going to show you some examples from the VA's website of what they state what would make a DBQ or VA exam insufficient. But before we get into today's video, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. And also you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. Okay, so today's video, what makes a VA exam in DBQ and/or DBQ insufficient? Okay, now I'm only going to share some examples. Okay, there's other things outside of these examples that make these exams insufficient, but I'm going to share some examples from the VA's M21 reference, okay? And towards the end of this video, I'm going to share some things that veterans have been receiving from the VA that states that their DBQs are insufficient, but it's not related to anything in the M21 and or the 38 CFR. And I'm pretty sure it's going to surprise you, okay? So today I only have one slide that I'm going to go over, but we're just going to cover the examples and then I'm going to get into some of the things I've been hearing from some other veterans, okay? So here's slide number one. Here in the slide, you can see the M21 reference number along with the name, which is Insufficient Examination Reports. Now, it states a Department of Veterans Affairs VA examination report submitted to the rating activity must be as complete as possible. Now, it states VA examination, which DBQs are VA exams, right? But most veterans get their DBQs completed by private physicians, okay? Well, some, I won't say most, but some. Now, these examples pertains to that as well. When you get a private doctor to complete a DBQ, these examples, I'm pretty sure they pertain to those DBQs that your private physician is completing, okay? So let's just jump right into it. The examination report is unsigned, okay? It has to be signed, all right? If you submit a DBQ that's not signed, then it's insufficient. If you go to a third-party contractor examiner and they don't sign that exam, it's insufficient, okay? The examination report does not address all disabilities for which an examination was requested. So when the VA sends that 2507 medical request to QTC, LHI, or VAS services, they're asking for a specific condition. So it could be for PTSD, it could be for migraines or whatever. So let's just say they send it over for PTSD and the third-party contractor sends a tinnitus exam back. It doesn't address the disability that was requested, which was the PTSD. That's going to make it insufficient, right? Okay. And if you look at it from a DBQ standpoint, same thing. If you're only claiming an increase for PTSD and you submit a back DBQ, but you don't have a back claim or a routine future for a back condition, then it's going to be insufficient, all right? The required questions on the disability benefit questionnaire are unanswered. Now, when you have a DBQ completed by your private doctor, you want to make sure all boxes are checked. If it doesn't pertain, one of the things that I did, if it didn't pertain to anything that was relevant to that particular diagnosis on that DBQ, my doctor put NA or none. Okay, so say for example, if it said I did an increase for my back, it may ask, does the veteran have a scar? No, and then underneath that put NA or none or something like that. All right. Now, the next bullet comment, the required review of the claims folder was not accomplished. Now, this is one of the inconsistencies that I think that is going on amongst adjudicators, RVSRs, at the VA right now, okay? Because I believe there are certain conditions that you claim that the entire VA claims folder do not need to be reviewed. For example, let's just say a veteran is claiming an increase in PTSD. 10 years ago, the veteran was service-connected at PTSD for 30%. The veteran has not done anything in that 10-year period as it pertains to PTSD. No treatment, no nothing, no visit to the VA, no medication, nothing. So there's nothing, let's just say there's nothing in that claims folder for a 10-year period. And now the veteran says, hey, I believe that my service-connected condition, which is PTSD, has gotten worse, come in for an increase. They submit a DBQ from the private doctor. Now, do I think some things need to be reviewed? Yes. Do I think the entire VA claims folder needs to be reviewed? No, because a claim for increase is just to find out the current residuals. So in this case, the PTSD stressor, that's already been confirmed. That veteran is just trying to, have the private physician or whomever is completing that particular DBQ to find out the current residuals, symptoms and residuals, okay? But one thing that I've been seeing, I'm gonna talk about a little bit later, VA claims folder hasn't been reviewed. So in some other videos and even on my live streams, I've been challenging veterans, why not go ahead and be proactive and request a copy of your VA claims folder, okay? And I list how I did that in the description section of this video, all right? Moving right along. The report is missing information pertinent to specific disability under review, such as the impact of musculature pain on the functional loss of an affected joint. So keep in mind, VA has a rating schedule. In that rating schedule, it has all service-connected conditions, diagnoses, okay? And under each one, it lists criteria for 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, or whatever percentages that you could be service connected for that particular condition. Now, when you look at a DBQ, you can find that criteria throughout that DBQ. So if a physician fails to check some of those boxes, whether it be a C&P examiner or a private doctor completing one of these DBQs or a VA examiner completing a C&P exam, if they don't check one of those boxes, it makes it insufficient because that information, the adjudicator is going to need to know, do you meet that criteria for 0%? Do you meet that criteria for 10%? Do you meet that criteria for 50 or 100%, okay? So that criteria on the diagnostic code criteria can be found throughout that DBQ. So if a VA C&P examiner didn't complete it, they're going to send it back saying, hey, you forgot to check these boxes. If you submit it from your private physician, then it's going to be an insufficient DBQ, okay? A medical opinion is not properly supported by valid rationale and or by the evidence of record, all right? So we give a class, we just had one today, what goes into a nexus statement. We talk about rationales. A lot of veterans do not know what rationales are. Basically, it's an explanation of how that doctor reached the conclusion for the medical opinion, whether it be negative or positive, okay? So if that's needed, then it makes that exam insufficient, all right? A requested medical opinion was not furnished, okay? So again, if you're trying to say for instance, you're trying to get service connected on pre-service aggravation, just some examples. I'm not going to run through a whole slew of them, but let's just say you're trying to get service connected for a pre-existing aggravation condition, direct service connection, secondary service connection. More than likely, a medical opinion is needed, okay? So if you submit a DBQ or the VA, you go to the C&P exam and that examiner doesn't provide that medical opinion, then it's an insufficient exam, all right? Now, when you get a copy of your your VA claims folder, if you've been to a CMP exam, in that CMP exam, you can find that medical opinion, okay? And you can see what it is. It's either going to be less likely than not or least likely as not, okay? So those are just some examples from the VA's M21. Now, the M21 is not law. I like using it as a guide for research because it gives you, when you start to go to the M21, it's sort of like Google. You know, you punch in a keyword and it'll go through the M21 and it'll find different references as it pertains to a keyword search. But the reason why I really like it is because it shows you 38 CFRs that may pertain to that particular reference. It'll show you court cases and other M21 references. So you can be in it a while just doing some research. And also keep in mind, the M21, a lot of times when I share M21s on slides, I'm not copying the entire M21, just a certain section of it. So I always encourage veterans to make sure they go out and do their due diligence. Now, I did state I said I was going to give you some examples from veterans that I've talked to that they're receiving from adjudicators. They're saying that their DBQs or CMP exams are insufficient, but mainly it's the DBQs, okay? Because those are being done by a lot of veterans from their private physicians, okay? So some of the things that I've heard, your examiner is out of state. I have yet to see an M21 reference or 38 CFR that says your doctor that's completing that DBQ exam has to be in state. Haven't seen it. You know, if anybody's come across it, please share, okay? Second, your VA claims folder, your physician did not state that your VA claims folder has been reviewed. Now, some of the veterans that I've talked to, they shared some of that information, and guess what the doctor put in that exam? The exam was completed per review of your VA claims folder. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It's there in black and white, okay? Another instance is where you didn't go to this exam in person, so that makes it insufficient. Now keep in mind, as of March 1st, 2021 of this year, when you have a private doctor to complete an exam for you, a DBQ, you don't have to go in person. It could be done by telehealth or telemental. I did a video on that, a YouTube video on that, and I'm going to link it at the end of this video, okay? Now, keep in mind, veterans, me personally, I think there's some DBQs that have to be done in person. For example, musculature, joints. A doctor cannot measure your range of motion by video. And what's going to make that DBQ insufficient if they do, now they can do it, but what's going to make that DBQ insufficient is they have to use a gonometer. They have to use a gonometer. So how can they do that by video? And also, if you have a DBQ completed or a CMP exam by QTC, LHI, or VS services, and those physicians are doing a musculature or joint DBQ and they don't use a gonometer, okay, it's going to make that exam insufficient. They have to put on that exam that they used a gonometer, okay? So I'm pretty sure there's other examples out there that veterans have received that stated that, you know, maybe in a rating decision or by a phone call from an adjudicator stating that your exam is insufficient because of X, Y, and Z. But again, as veterans, we have to be educated and we have to ask those questions. So if somebody says, hey, your doctor was out of state, the question I'm asking is, well, which VA regulation or reference that states that my doctor has to be in state? Okay, so just keep that in mind. So again, I said, you know, in a lot of my videos, I talk about actionable and sufficient. But what makes exams, DBQs, insufficient? I just gave you some examples, and those are only a few examples. I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact there's others out there, but I only want to share a few with you so you can start thinking, okay? When you get a DBQ done, is it sufficient? If you had to go to a CMP exam, through QTC LHI VS services, and you got a copy of your CMP exam, you know what to look for, okay? Is this exam sufficient? Oh, wait a minute. I went in for an increase from a back, and that CMP examiner did not state that they measured my range of motion with a goniometer, and the adjudicator confirmed to continue my evaluation, let's just say at 20%, which I should have been 40. So now you have some ammunition that you can use for a high-level review or to request another CMP exam in that particular scenario, okay? So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, so make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and also be on the lookout for our new monthly roundtable. I'm going to be doing a new monthly roundtable on the third Thursday of every month at 1 p.m., okay? So definitely go to our website, kmd89.com, kmd89.com. You can get to that link. The link is provided in the description section. So if I don't see you in one of our new monthly roundtables, I'll see you in my next educational video. Thank you.